When I had the stroke, I was first put in a ward with other people who'd had strokes at the same time, but all those people were 60 plus years old and I was 22. So it was very confronting. It made me more determined to get out of there and get back to what I had before.
When someone's looking at returning to work in terms of communication and thinking, some of the barriers or the difficulties they might experience are being understood by others if their speech is unclear or they're not communicating the right words. Sometimes they have difficulty understanding in terms of thinking. It could be things like planning, problem solving, remembering, paying attention to what they need to.
A month or so in, I got back with the actual work that I was doing the day I had had the stroke, and I looked at it and it just looked like foreign language to me. I'm going, I can't do this anymore. There is nothing that I understand, I don't get it, it's confusing, it's daunting, it's frustrating, why can't I do it?
I noticed that my focus had lapsed, I was easily distracted, I couldn't block out outside noises.
Your ability to speak and say what you want to say, you know what you want to say, you just can't get the words out. It's difficult.
One of the things that we recommend for people is to participate in a graded return to work where their hours are gradually increased over an extended period of time to help avoid that neurological fatigue and physical fatigue.
The fatigue itself was just massive. Like I always I suppose, perceived fatigue as just being a bit tired, but it literally just wiped you out.
So I was working Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 3 hours at the most each day, and then on Tuesday, Thursday was just sleep as much as I could.
If someone's not able to get back to work straight away, what we usually say is that they try and increase their participation engagement with tasks at home, their daily activities.
So things like increasing their engagement in the community. It might be having a regular catch up with a friend or getting back using public transport.
I knew that I had kids at home, I had a house I had to pay for. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to cut it just on the pension, so I had to do something about getting work. So I rang one of my old bosses and said, "You're always looking for techs to help out. Is there any positions now?" And he said, "Yes, actually." Just right on the spot, I said, "Sure." I said, "I'm limited medically to how much I can work, because of my condition." And he said, "Well, we could use you 1 day a week." So I picked up 1 day a week's work and just went from there.
I tried to get back to work straight away. Even when I didn't have my licence, but that was a lot of brick wall hitting, and I think I probably, if I look at sort of in 6 monthly instalments of my time, the first 6 months, which included a lot of therapy, I was probably only doing really 1 to 2 hours a week, and then sort of the second 6 months I was managing to do a couple of hours twice a week. But by the 2 years and starting for another consultancy, I was able to probably work sort of 10 hours a week.
Some of the most common challenges of stroke survivors trying to get back into work is readiness. It's the accommodation of the employer. Are they ready to have this change? Are they ready to be accommodating for what might need to be adjusted for someone going back to work?
I'd lost a bit of confidence with my speech, even though my speech, people said that it wasn't different, but I felt like it was. So I wasn't all that keen to be on the phone or anything like that. And so I then tried to sort of say, okay, how about instead of doing that part of my role that I would generally performed, how about I maybe update some of the database?
I just lose focus, and I've learnt that I have to get up and I'll go for a walk. And that can just break my concentration, and that's enough then to give me another hour or 2 hours of work.
My short-term memory can be a bit ordinary, so I have to carry a pen and paper around. If I write it down, no problems at all, but if I don't write it down, I'll probably forget.
Typically, stroke survivors who have some challenges will be referred to a rehab provider in the community.
Services that are available tend to be looking at a vocational rehabilitation or an occupational therapist or neuropsychologist that have those skills, or a speech pathologist with the skills to work with return to work.
But you have to also accept that not everything is going to improve to the level you want it to, but any gain is a gain. So you should you know, capitalise on whatever gains you do get and keep moving.
The advice that I would give to employers when working with someone who's had a stroke and they want to get back to work is to remain open and flexible in their discussions with the client, the rehab team, the doctors, about what a return to work plan might look like.
The flexibility that they offered was really good, and that was what made the transition back so much easier.
Have a really open dialogue, make sure that their expectations and the employees' expectations and hopes are out there and very clear.
So a successful outcome for someone returning to work after a stroke isn't necessarily to me returning back to the exact same role, the exact same hours. It's about being able to do something that you are satisfied with in the workplace, but still being able to come home at the end of the day and have the energy to have a life.
Don't rush. Don't rush. That's exactly. Money's one thing, and I understand money's important, but I wish now I'd taken that time to realise that it takes time. Where with work I just rushed and thought I'd be fine, and I wasn't fine.
It's been told to me many times since that if I had that stroke anywhere else in my brain, I would have been dead. So take your time. The fact that you're getting back up and walking and learning to live again that's a big enough achievement.